6 months back, I made this video on how to use Pinterest for beginners, but in true Pinterest fashion, a lot of those features have changed and have gone through updates. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what these features are, how they affect the Pinterest algorithm, and what you can do to make the most of them. But before we start, make sure to give this video a like so that more people can find this video. And with that, let's dive in. Alright, so the first update that you're going to see is going to be on your profile itself. Now, this is the profile of one of my accounts. And as you can see, it has now been categorized into two different sections. So there's a created section and then there's a saved section. Now, before there were different sections on activity, pins, as well as you could see the people that you were following and more stuff. But that has been changed by Pinterest and now it has been divided into just two tabs, the created tab and the saved tab. So let me explain what exactly this feature means. So the created tab is basically the sum of all of the pins that you create from your account. So it doesn't include the pins that you share from someone else's account or the pins that you maybe repin to your account but are not created by you. So everything that you create from your account, which means every pin or image that you upload from your account, including the videos that you upload, as well as story pins that you upload, which I'm also going to share towards the end of this video, are going to be in chronological order represented here. This means that the top of the pins are the most recent pins that you have shared. And as you go down and scroll to the bottom, it's going to be the older pins that you've shared over the last days or the last weeks. So it's basically kind of like an endless feed where you can see everything that you've created. And the next section, which is about the saved pins, is going to be all of the places where you've saved those pins to. So what you saw in the first section was everything that you created, all the images that you created. And in the second section is going to be where those images are categorized to or saved to. In this case, it's going to be all the boards that you have. So whether that is your personal boards, it is your group boards, or any other kind of boards that you have are going to be reflected in this page. An interesting thing to note here is that you can also look for a particular pin if you want in the all pins section. Now these pins include everything that you've ever saved to your account. So, in let's say the lifetime of the account, everything that was saved. This is also going to include the pins that you shared from saved from someone else's account. So under the all pins section, you can also see everything that you have saved from anyone else's account. It doesn't have to be just your pins. So I hope that makes it easier, because earlier there was a lot of different things that you could look around when it came to someone's profile, but now you just have these two options. And if you run a shop on Pinterest, you're also going to have an option which basically shares everything that you've uploaded to your shop. So there's going to be a third option here, which is going to be a shop. So if in case you don't have that or you're not selling products on Pinterest, it's not really relevant for you. Now, when it comes to creating pins, you can always head here to the top left corner and go on create and then go on create a pin. But you also have the option to do it directly from here as well. So Pinterest has also given you the option to create a pin from this option as well, where you can also look at creating a board. Now, this is one of the main features that have changed on Pinterest in terms of the layout. It doesn't really mean much in terms of the strategy that you need to have in your account, because it's basically to make it easier for users to understand where everything is categorized. And especially if you're using Pinterest for personal purposes, you don't really need to see your activity and all those things. You really only care about the things that you're saving to your account, or you care about where they have been saved, so which projects or personal boards they have been saved to. The next thing that has changed is a search feed on Pinterest. So when you type in something, let's say I type in passive income, so there are a couple of changes that have come up here as well. So you might have noticed that now you have, instead of the normal keyword section that you had, especially if you go back and see my tutorial that I made 6 months back, you'll be able to see the difference here. Here now you don't have any single row of keywords available anymore. So all you have is two options, explore and shop. You can still find keyword ideas when you type in passive income and you see a list of things typed down. Those are basically long tail phrases and long tail keywords that are related to the main keyword that you search. And you can also see some accounts that show up on the top. However, when it comes to navigating Pinterest search by keywords, that has changed and that's not really available. And I'm going to share with you in a second exactly where that has moved once I explain this feed to you. So when it comes to the feed now, you have two different categories, the explore option, which basically shares with you all the pins like it did before. So instead of just having one place to see everything and also shop, now Pinterest has categorized that into explore, which means all of the pins that you can see, and the shop, which means that if you are a product seller and you, let's say, have books or products that you sell in this particular category, they might also have a chance to rank here on search. Now, this is really, really good news for product creators as well as product sellers on Pinterest, because this means that now you have more real estate. Because if someone has the intent to buy or shop on Pinterest, they can immediately come to this tab and see what's available in this particular category. However, when it comes to content creators, this is not really that great news, because it means that you are competing for attention between two different tabs now. So instead of the user just typing in passive income and being forced to read, let's say, all the articles and everything that comes up, now they have the option, to just switch to the shop category and start shopping directly. So on the one hand, it's great if you're a product owner. On the other hand, you do have a little bit of more competition, because now you're competing with product sellers or e-commerce business owners as well. But this was, however, always the case, and Pinterest has been moving heavily towards social commerce. So I'm not quite surprised that this feature exists. In terms of the traffic that Pinterest can send you, I don't think there's a lot of difference, especially if you are creating high quality content and you're making sure that you're optimizing your pins for SEO, as well as your account with the best practices to be discovered. Now, the third thing that we mentioned, which is also something that has been on Pinterest for a while and they have been testing it in beta, which is the Trends tool, is basically where your keywords have, let's say, shifted to. So earlier you could have keywords here as a top row when you search passive income, and you can see that in my previous video. I linked that video in the description box as well. However, now you have to go into analytics and you have to head into trends to find or have access to your keywords once more. Now, in principle, this isn't very different, because it basically is a better way for you to search for keywords. However, it does make it a little bit different in the way that you might be looking for keywords. So instead of just searching on the search feed, now you have to head into your analytics section, go down to trends, and then you can add in the search terms. On top of this, now search is not really as generic as it used to be before. Now you can specifically search for your countrywide searches. So you can see how many searches people are looking for in US, how many searches are there for a keyword in UK, how many in Canada, and so on. And let's say that I type in the term passive income, and then I will see if that also shows up here and what are the keywords that come up. So as you can see, passive income shows me 3 different types of keyword options that come up. This doesn't mean that these are the only keywords that are being searched. It just means that these are the keywords being searched in the US. Now, if your audience is based in the US, in UK or Canada, this is awesome, because you can use this tool to really specifically understand how many people are searching for what, and really understand how that shares, how that looks in your particular niche. However, if you are based somewhere else in the world, it's also beneficial for you, because chances are a huge part of your audience is anywhere in these 3 different countries. So you can look for all the English search terms in that. The other way to look for keywords would be explained in my keyword research tutorial that I have in this on my channel as well. So you can look at that in case this is not the best strategy for you. What's interesting about this tool is that not only do you have access to keyword data. So for example, when I search through, I can see passive income searches have been kind of consistent over the year, but they really rose high in January, right? So it could be because a lot of people were making New Year resolutions and they wanted to search more. So you can also see what are the related keyword ideas, and you can compare these keywords as well, which I think is awesome, because if you're looking for ideas on how to create content on Pinterest, you can now see whether passive income would do better, or let's say investing money would do better. So as you can see, passive income is a much more searched term on average compared to investing money. This doesn't mean that you should only be creating content in one or the other, but it's a good way for you to play around with keywords and really see what are the best keywords in your particular category, what you could target. Not only this, you can also click through to this popular pins tab, and you can see all the best pins in that section. So you have access to the top pins in this section as well. Now keep in mind, when it comes to the search feed, Pinterest has a dynamic search feed. It is not fixed like Google. This means that the pins that you see here are ideally perfectly curated for you, and they're not always the static same pins that are showing up over and over again. So today you might see this, but another friend of yours searching for the same term might see something else. So keep that in mind when you're looking for popular pins as well, because just because these pins are old and they've been around for a while and they're ranking at the top, it doesn't mean that your content can't get discovered. If you use the best practices, you have just as much a chance to get discovered as well. Now, when you go back to the trends tool, what's really interesting as well is the fact that you can also see what are the ongoing trends on a weekly and on a monthly basis. So you can see what are people in a larger context searching for when it comes to Pinterest. So you can see there are trends around Pinterest predicts, that is a news article from Pinterest. There are trends around Bridgerton, which is a Netflix show, not surprising, and then trends around food, etc. You can also look around and see what is trending that particular week, which is again an excellent way for you to understand what you should be focusing on or what you should be creating more content on. And not only this, you can also just have a bird's eye view to all of the trending ideas across different categories. So what's trending in fashion, in beauty, in travel, in home, etc. Now, Pinterest doesn't share all the categories because I think it would be really hard for them even to understand and pick up on all the categories. So they just share the most common ones, but you can always use this search bar here and just look into your specific category and see if the search term is going up or down for that particular category. So again, even though Pinterest has done away with the row here, I think this is a much better way for you to look for keywords anyway. And also because you can now compare keywords and see which ones would do better versus the other. So that's an excellent tool for you as well. Another feature that is new to Pinterest is the story pins feature. Now, depending on where you are based and whether or not you have an account which got access to this feature, because Pinterest is slowly releasing this feature out of beta, which is also quite common with the way Pinterest does it. Some creators have access to it, some don't. I'm lucky that I have access to it on one of my accounts, not all. So I'm going to quickly show it to you how that works as well. So as you can see, you can now create a story pin on Pinterest as well. And how it works is pretty much the same as it would work on Facebook or on Instagram, which means that you can now create a story based on different images and videos. And not only this, you can also edit, titles, etc. So I have a draft here, and as you can see, there are different ways that you can edit the story as well. So you can, for example, just upload a pin you created, and you can say link in bio or check out my profile. You can add different call to action texts. And on top of this, you can also play around with the colors, with the backgrounds, as well as just, the image sizing as well. So what you can do is you can add specific text here based on what you like. So you can also say read the post in my bio, etc. So basically any call to action that you want. Now, story pins are really cool for people who are, let's say, creating recipes, creating guides. If you're a business owner who wants to share the behind the scenes look on your Pinterest profile, again, an excellent way for you to showcase that. And not only this, you can also specifically, add all the items that you would need to create that. So for example, if you're showcasing how to create a DIY kitchen shelf, then you can actually add all of the ingredients or the raw materials that you would need. And you can pick from different options. So you can add a recipe, you can add crafts plus DIY, or you can just add a blank list. So maybe you're sharing the top 10 books in your niche for someone to read. So you can then just add all the details to those books, the author names, etc. And then when you click on next, you can definitely figure out which are the different categories that the story pins belongs to. So you can, for example, look for tag topics. So you can say, for example, personal development. You can basically add as many tags as you want. And this is again for Pinterest to search for Pinterest to showcase your story pins to other people. And it isn't really something that is for you, but it's rather for Pinterest to understand what your pin is about and to make sure they're showing it to the right people. So you can add a title to your story pin. You can say XYZ recipe or whatever the pin is about. You can pick the exact board that you want to save it to. So even though the story pin title as well as the board are compulsory, you don't have to necessarily add tags, but it's a good practice for SEO to add tags so that Pinterest can basically showcase your story pins to the right audience, right? And then when you click publish, your pin is going to get published and it's going to be featured in your profile section, which I'll show you in a second. So as you can see, my story pins or all of my old story pins are then featured at the top of my profile. So what does that tell us about Pinterest? That tells us about Pinterest that they are really aggressively testing out the story pin feature. They want to have more content formats available for users to interact with and for them to stay within the platform, as well as the fact that they are probably going to be pushing out more and more story content in the coming year. So hopefully, I hope that everyone is going to have access to this feature by the end of this year. If not, there is a special form that I will link down in the description box below where you can ask to be invited to this. And I highly recommend that if you do have access to this feature, to play around with it and really see how it works for you and how, what kind of engagement and link clicks you get based on this as well. Unfortunately, right now we can't add links directly to the story pin, but I think if you're a new creator on Pinterest, or if you're a new business owner, you can definitely boost your engagement by using story pins instead of just using image pins and waiting for things to take an organic turn for you. Another recent feature, which is also in the Pinterest analytics section, is that they have changed the way that they calculate their analytics. So right now, earlier monthly users used to be your total audience, but now that has changed to the total impressions, which in my opinion is a better metric to track, because technically the people who have had an impression or have seen a copy of your pin should be a part of your monthly views, and that's what Pinterest has fixed now. So basically impressions are, if you click on the tab I, you'll be able to see that as well. So basically impressions are now equal to the monthly viewers that you have on Pinterest, and they have done that to make it easy for you to understand exactly how many people had access to pins from your domain. So this doesn't include any information about pins that you save from other people's accounts, and earlier it was being included, but now it's not. So this is now a better way for you to gauge whether or not your Pinterest strategy is working, what could change, and how much your audience is growing over time. So as you can see, they've also added a couple of things here. Now I won't go into a lot of details. If you are interested in this, I have paid programs in which I go into a lot more details into analytics and how to make that work. But in the interest of time, I'm going to quickly share with you what is changed so that you know how to make the best use of it on Pinterest. So basically the pin click rate is how often people click on the pin, and the outbound click rate is basically how many people clicked out to the destination URL. Now earlier, outbound clicks used to be link clicks, which meant that how many people clicked on your pins every day. And now that number has changed to outbound clicks, whereas pin clicks has replaced close-ups. So earlier, when you had someone tap into your pin to look closer, even if they didn't end up on your website or on your business account, on your business page, they still would feature in the close-up section. But close-up has now been replaced by pin clicks. And as you can see, this number is going to be different compared to the outbound clicks. So outbound clicks is basically what is the traffic that Pinterest is sending you directly on that day, and how many people clicked to your website, to your URL from your Pinterest account. So the most interesting feature here is definitely outbound clicks, because that tells you whether or not your traffic strategy is working, which days you have the most traffic, which days you don't have the most traffic, and what are the differences in how many people are clicking through to your pins. So you can really test that out and see what's working for your account and what's not working for your account. The last feature that I want to share with you, which is all about alt text. So I've also shared this in one of my other videos on how to create a pin, how to post on Pinterest. And if you're interested, you can check that out. But now when you go on the create pin option, you have an additional tab called alt text. Now, alt text is something that actually did exist on Pinterest up until I think 2017, but then they did away with it and now they're bringing it back. So I'm not sure how long this feature is really going to be around and how big a part it's going to play, but I do know for a fact that Pinterest is trying to be more diverse and inclusive. And if you have a user or a reader who is, let's say, visually impaired and they are not really seeing the images, but they're actually listening to them on their screen reader, then this is going to be the deal breaker for them. So here is where you can explain what this image is all about, what they would be led to. So it is not the same thing as your pin description, because your pin description is where you add a description of what the pin is about, you add keywords and all of that stuff. The alt text is really about what the image is about. So you want to explain in layman terms what the image is about. So this image is about a blog post that leads to XYZ, or if you're sharing a product, you can say this image is about a pink makeup box that has a white tail or whatever. Point being that the alt text basically makes your content more discoverable by readers or visitors who are using the screen reader function, which means that if they are visually impaired, then they will have a better experience with your profile. If you are someone who is selling e-commerce products or you're doing business on Pinterest, I highly recommend that you definitely use this feature. But if you are a content creator who is just writing, pins and has blog posts, you can just say that this image leads to a blog post of the title XYZ. And you can describe the image or the video if there is something that would benefit them in understanding what the content is all about. So again, a feature that I think is a good to have, but is not necessary for you to use in order to grow. It does definitely make your content more accessible and more diverse. And I would recommend using it if you have the time and you're able to do it. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more such videos. Now, in my membership program, Pinfluencer Collective, I go into a lot more details on all of the monthly regular updates, as well as schedule time for coaching and content creation specifically for our members. If you're interested in growing your audience and your income with Pinterest, you can check out more about the membership in the description link below. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.